Welcome to this session, Digital Resources and Checkout for the Topeka Shawnee County Public Library. I'm Robin Dixon, pre-K through 5th grade ELA Social Studies Consulting teacher, and I will be walking you through all of the resources available online through the public library. There will be places in this presentation for you to pause, jot, and reflect. You may do that individually, or you may do that with a colleague or a group of colleagues via Zoom or another platform. Let's begin by examining our learning intentions and our success criteria. Our learning intentions are as follows: to learn about the digital online features of the Topeka Shawnee County Library, and to learn how these resources can be used by you and your students. You will be successful when you can list resources available from the Topeka Shawnee County Public Library and determine how these resources can or will be used by you and your students. Should you have questions during this presentation, please do not hesitate to reach out to me at the email address provided or to your library media specialist. Your library media specialist will be a valuable asset helping you and your students access these online digital resources. Let's take a moment and begin by doing a pause, jot, and reflect. Think about, what do you know about the resources that are available through the library? Did you know there were resources available? What are some resources you would like to know more about? And how might digital library resources be helpful to you in your classroom, in person, and/or online? So take a moment to pause, jot, and reflect alone or with your colleagues. And when you are ready, you may hit the start button and resume the presentation. So let's begin by learning how to access a digital library card. You will go to TSCPL.org and you will go to register for a new account online. And I have included that link for you, and you will get to a page that looks as follows. And you'll see on the screen that it says get a library card, and there is a blue rectangle that says sign up for library card. And it takes just a couple of moments. I did that. I accessed and re-signed up for a new library card and a digital card. And it is a very quick process. As soon as you do that, you have access to the online digital resources immediately. And then a few hours later, you will receive an email saying that your account is completely approved, processed, and ready to go. So it is that easy to access a card. And if you are doing this for yourself, you will do this the same way, and your students will also sign up the exact same way. So let's look at the library app next. You will also see that there's a new library app that you can download, and so I have included the link for that. It is listed above. It is a bit long, but if you go to the library website and log in and go to meet the new app, you can just download it right from there. So I love that the library has made it so easy for students, adults, any patron of the library to access materials. So let's begin by looking at the library resources. I've included the link when you get into the website, and I've also showed you a picture of what the page would look like. So let's take some time to explore each of these areas, and at the end we will talk about how we can use these resources in and out of the classroom. So once you get to this page for downloads, you will see that there are a wide variety of options for you to use. The first is an arts and crafts site. And if we click on that, you can log in to a site called Creative Bug, and it will bring up all kinds of activities for art, jewelry making, etc. So you can see here, there's also classes available. And I just signed up. You signed up. It's super easy. And I can come in here and I can search and find all the classes that are available. Perhaps I'm wanting to do something with a paper craft in my classroom. I can search here and see what I can find. I could also use this for personal use. If let's say I'm wanting to learn how to crochet, I can come here and find crochet projects. So the first amazing resource is called Creative Bug, and it's all things related to arts and crafts. So let's go to the next site, the next source in the website. And this is audiobooks. And notice that it says listen to audiobooks using Overdrive and Hoopla. So if I come down here, I can get audiobooks right here. And now I can search. Notice that I have subjects, I have collections, etc. Let's say I want to read Where the Wild Things Are, and you'll see it'll pop up. And I can come right here and I can check out and I can borrow this book. So notice that if I was looking over here, it shows us another book. It says Where the Wild Things Bite. Notice that is on waitlist checkout. So I would put my name in on that for waitlist. So I could come right over here and I could borrow this library book. So notice that I can do this for personal use or for school use. If I come over here to subject, notice it has juvenile fiction. I could come over here. Notice it also goes into lexiles and text difficulties. So I could also do grade level. So let's say I'm a second grade teacher and I want to find a text in second grade. I could do that as well. So let's say I want to come down here to text difficulty and I want second grade. I can then look at all titles. Oops, I somehow still have Where the Wild Things Are, but you get the idea for how to check out books, for audiobooks. So this would be a great feature for you to use if you wanted to have all your students listen to a story. This would be a great feature to do with that. Now, right beneath Overdrive, we'll also see something called Hoopla. So I can also get audiobooks, magazines, etc. from Hoopla. So I would need to log in, and so I'm going to do that. So once you create your Hoopla account and you put in your username, your email address, you put in your library card number, your PIN number, etc., you get to a page that looks like this. So it's you can borrow 15 more titles this month, and it said I don't have anything borrowed. So let's say I wanted to search for Hamilton for personal use. Notice it puts in Hamilton, it shows me musicals, it shows me some books that I can check out as well. So, and then you just come over here and then you just click borrow. So it is as easy as that. So let's put in, we were looking at Where the Wild Things Are earlier. And you'll notice when I start putting in Where the Wild Things Are, I get a title of a book. I get a soundtrack. I get musical score. So I can come over here, Where the Wild Things Are. And you'll notice that I have 8 results. So I have some up here, Where the Wild Things Are, music. Let's try Winnie the Pooh and see what we come up with. So again, you'll see we have different Winnie the Pooh books that we can check out, as well as audiobooks and as ebooks. So Hoopla is another great source that you can use with your classroom. And you'll notice that I can also choose children's titles only. So that will help us narrow down to appropriate titles for students. And I went back to my search for where the wild things are, and you'll notice that I have something down here that looks kind of strange or kind of not appropriate. I can also, again, come over here and choose children's titles only, and then it narrows my search down to 2. So I can also search children's titles only. There's also a resource for coding and design. So we can also come over here and have students doing some work with coding as well if they want to do some coding and design. Comics, and you'll notice that the comics are through Hoopla. Ebooks. We can come over here and again, you'll see OneDrive and Hoopla on that link. And you'll notice it also says Libby is Overdrive's newest app that makes downloading ebooks and audiobooks super easy. That is the download from app or Google Play. So that is just a thought for classroom or personal use. Language, you can also learn a new language. Let's say you have a student that is interested in learning basic French or basic Spanish, for example. You could have students where they are working individually to learn a new language. And that would be a great way to enrich your students. It's something that you could start in the classroom and they could continue on with at home. The library app, we talked about downloading the library app earlier. We also have learning resources that students can access once they have their card and that you can access. And so you can come over here and do some learning with this app, this site as well. Magazines. You can also download magazines using something called Flipster. So you will come over here and you will put in your library card number and then your PIN that you have created. So I'm going to log in. So I finished logging in and it will take you to this site that has all kinds of categories of magazines. You'll notice here we have on the left-hand side, you'll see a place where it says categories. It starts with arts and design, business, entertainment, fashion, fitness, lifestyle. So it will take you to any magazine that you're interested in. So if, let's say I click on lifestyle. And I see Vogue, Vanity Fair, Southern Living. It's going to show you all the magazines that are available. Let's say I want to read Southern Living. I can click on that blue hyperlink. And you'll notice that it will take me to the latest edition. And on my tabs, you will see Southern Living, July 2020. And then you will just start reading this way. And it looks just like a magazine would look like in person. So an amazing resource for personal and professional use. So let's say I wanted to come over here and now I want to put in kids and family. I can search this way and let's see what happens if I put in sports Illustrated for Kids. Let's see if that one pops up. And that one did not pop up, but that's okay. Some magazine may not be on for you to search. So it is as simple as that to find a magazine. Notice that there's also science and technology. So if you are an older grade teacher, perhaps middle school or high school, then maybe popular science. There's an article that you want your students to read in popular science, for example. You could have them go to that article and read within that magazine title. And in your digital resources, the last two options are music and video. And notice that those are also in Hoopla. So if you have created a Hoopla account, you should have easy access to these as well. So now I'm in the library app and it says get music from Hoopla. So I'm already logged in to this account. So notice that it's here. Notice that I have a kids link as well, that we can do a kid-friendly setting as well. And notice how it changes that screen. So let's do kids. Let's do, oh, here's the magic when it pulled up Pete the Cat, Star Wars, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, lots of different things. So let's pull up Magic School Bus. So notice that we have some additional information here that we can search. And again, in Hoopla, I'm in books, so I want to come back over to music. So I can search music. And notice here's the music for Frozen 2, Kid Bop 40, the Moana music. So this is a great way to get music for your classroom or in person or online. Let's say you're doing something with a brain break. You could put some music on from one of these, and this would be a great way to get some music to get your kids up and moving at their houses as well. So notice Peppa Pig. So it goes from lower grades all the way up. So you can also find music sources under Hoopla as well. And finally, on the downloads, the last option is videos. Watch movies, TV shows, educational instructional videos, documentaries. It is the purple screen that has the purple square that looks like a piece of film strip. So if I come over here to video, again, this is going to look like, it's going to show me Hoopla, and I'm going to access it. And notice down here that it does say you can only stream Hoopla's content. You can't download it. So, and there's no hold list. So you can only access videos, documentaries, etc. that are currently in stock and available. So I'm going to come over here to browse, and I'm going to browse movies. The browse is, it says Hoopla, then it says My Hoopla, and then it says browse. And notice you can browse audiobooks as the first choice, movies as the second. So you will see that I have options available, and please note that I do have it set on kids setting. So we are only going to see things that are appropriate for students, the way that I have it set up. So again, you are going to see a variety of options. So let's scroll through, and you'll notice that there are 842 movies at your access. So I can scroll through. Notice that I can also use default. So I can search the title alphabetically by clicking on the default button or the popularity button. And I can see what's popular and what's not. Now, if we go back up to the top of that, again, we're going to go to Browse, which is the second tab over to the right of My Hoopla. And notice that we can also search television. So you can also search television shows as well. So let's say that you remember that there's a magic school bus that was on TV that you would love to do that ties into your science unit. This is a great way to get that video to show to your class. Or perhaps you want to search a documentary that was on TV. You could also search that way. Ebooks is another option that you can search on here as well. So those are all of your online digital resources. And you'll notice that there are a multitude of resources that you can use with your. And again, all of these resources can be found at tscpl.org/download. So it is going to take you to this page that has all of the amazing resources that are available for you and your students. Another amazing resource on the digital platform of the library is also Encyclopedia Britannica. And I have listed for you the 3 steps that you will need to get to Encyclopedia Britannica. And I'm also going to walk you through those steps. So let's take a moment to determine how we can get to Encyclopedia Britannica. So when you are at the download place of the website, you will notice that there are 3 options with down arrows. The first one that I'm highlighting says check it out. The second one says download it. And the third one says research it. I'm going to click on the down arrow to the right of the words research it. And you will see the options that come up. In the very first column, it says research database. One of the items that you'll see, the third one down, the third bullet, is Britannica Library. If I click on Britannica Library, it's going to take me to the Britannica Library online. Now, notice that it says it has a welcome screen, and right beneath that welcome screen, you'll see 3 words with search buttons. The first one says children, the second one says young adult, and the third one says reference center. So if I look at children and I put in a search and I put in alligators, notice that it's going to bring me to a page that looks like this. And I'm going to see to the left, I'm going to see articles. I'm going to see a picture of a button that says images, a third one that says video, a fourth one that says dictionary, magazines, and web's best site. So this is going to help me to narrow down what I want to find. So let's see, I want to look at this first one, and I'm going to click on the blue hyperlink that says alligator with reptiles in parentheses. Notice that it takes me to a page and it gives me a definition. What's really amazing about this is that I can also read aloud, have it read aloud, and play and a stop button. So it's an amazing place if I have students that need accommodations for reading, read aloud, things like that, it's there. And notice that I also have the article reading level. This one I currently am showing at a level 1. Look what happens when I go to a reading level 2. Notice that this is a more difficult reading article. So I can also differentiate the reading and the material for students as well. So Encyclopedia Britannica online is an extremely useful and valuable research site for your students, perhaps through personalized learning or project-based learning, or to connect to research that you are doing in science or social studies. So I'm back to the original Britannica Library search site, and we were in the first tab that says children. I want to go to the third search over that says reference center. And let's again type alligators. And notice this time my screen looks the same with my buttons on the left that say articles, images, etc. But notice this time how my search has expanded. It says displaying 1 of 10 of 112 results. So I get much more information because you'll notice that I also have, in addition to my level 1, my level 2, notice that now I have a level 3 reading level. So this would work well for your students with higher reading levels or students that are doing more advanced research. So Encyclopedia Britannica online is an extremely useful resource for you to use with your students. So one of the things that I would suggest is that you just spend some time digging in deeper into those resources and determining how you might use those in your classroom. Try using it for personal use as well and learn about the features available. Something else that the digital platform has is something called Ask a Library. And if you need assistance, you can email, text, or call the library with any questions. And this slide has for you the email, the text number, and the call number. Now, what I have included for you next are some library videos and sources that the library has included. Let's say you want to search some YouTube videos about library features. If you go to this website that says www.youtube.com/Topeka Library, it's going to take you to the district's to the library's YouTube page, and there's also a link for the library Facebook page. The YouTube page and Facebook page also provide additional information that you may want to have for your personal use or to show your students how to use various features of the library. And finally, there's also a place where you can go for podcasts, and I have included the link, and I've also shown you a picture of what it looks like. So if you are wanting to listen to a podcast and search for a podcast on a given topic, whether it's personal or professional, you can do that as well. And you'll notice the page I've showed you is that there are also staff picks that staff have listened to and recommended. So let's take a moment to examine some classroom ideas. I have made a list for you, and this is just a list for you to get started. There are so many ideas that I know that you will come up with. These ideas are just a way to get you started with your thinking. So you can use Encyclopedia Britannica or magazines for research. You can have students all assign the same guided reading book through an ebook. You could do thematic studies or author studies. Perhaps you search an author and you want to do an author study. You could do that. You could have students reading digitally through a literature circle. You can also search for magazine articles. I'm also going to include videos as well with that, that to extend content area learning or to further connect to a shared reading story. So perhaps you're studying the Civil War and you want to extend and find continued magazine articles or videos, you could also search there. If you're in a lower grade and you want to find a magazine article or a story about alligators because it ties into a story that you've read in shared reading, you could do that. My mind automatically goes to Stella Luna and bats and finding articles about bats to extend their learning and understanding of bats and how that bat knowledge ties into the shared reading story of Stella Luna. You could use word searches from morphology. Perhaps you have them pull up a book or pull up a magazine article and you want them to find words containing various affixes or Latin roots. You could do that. Great way to also tie into independent reading. Students can be checking out and logging what they're reading online during class or at home. You could also create interactive reading logs where students are reading online. They submit a response via Seesaw, for example, and you can respond back to the student concerning their reading. You can also find videos for science and social studies connections. And you can use all of these digital components for research. Also thinking about personalized learning and project-based learning. These are all amazing resources for you to use with your students for those content areas and personalized learning. I have gone through a lot of information with you concerning the digital resources from the Topeka Public Library. So what ideas do you have for use for these resources in your personal personal research, your personal endeavors, or your in-person or online classroom? So take a moment to pause the video, record your ideas individually, or if you're watching this with colleagues, share with your colleagues, how can you use this in your classroom or in your grade level? How will these digital resources benefit you and your students? So take a moment to pause the video, and when you are ready, begin the video again. I hope you and your colleagues were able to determine some amazing uses for these resources in your classroom. Again, my list was not inclusive. It was designed to get you thinking. So let's do a final pause, jot, and reflect. What resources did you learn more about? And what resources can you use in your in-person and remote classroom? So take a moment to pause, jot, and reflect alone or with your colleagues. And when you are ready, you may begin the video and proceed to the next slide. Let's end by reviewing our learning intentions and success criteria for today and determine if those were met. First of all, did you learn about the digital online features of the Topeka Shawnee County Library? Did you learn how these resources can be used by you and your students? And were you successful? Can you list resources available from the library? And can you determine how these resources can or will be used by your students? And again, I want to thank you for taking time to learn about the amazing resources available from the Topeka Shawnee County Library to help you with instruction in person or also by remote. So I hope that going forward you have found some amazing resources to use with your students.